Hi, this is Redbird. Just coming back to you again today to talk to you about my first video about the second coming of Jesus Christ. There are a couple things that I didn't mention when I recorded the video earlier. And one of the things is that the crown on Jesus' head was very, very thick gold. And it was beaten into a crown from like one huge gold nugget, and it had beat marks on it. You could tell it was hammered into a crown, and it was beautiful. And it was so thick that if you or I were to place it on our heads, it would break our necks. But he was wearing it with sufficient authority. Also in the center of the cross was what we would call maybe a cabochon, and it looked red, and it moved like it was liquid. And the closest thing that I can think of to it would be like mercury, but it was red. It was blood red. Another thing at the end, when Satan had said to me, "You're mine," and then he said marijuana and cocaine. Later on in my life, I had a problem with marijuana and cocaine, and I think it was God warning me at the time. I ended up being so hooked on crack that I couldn't get off of it, and I prayed to God to help me off of it. I was kneeling at my toilet, having dry heaves, begging to be let off cocaine, and I heard a voice say to me, "You can't con me," and which kind of like made me surprised, because I never thought God would use a word like con. So I again said, I want off, please help me off, and the voice said again, "You can't con me." And then that kind of like made me a little bit angry. And so I said, "I'm not trying to con you. I really want to be let off cocaine. I want to get off of this stuff." And the voice said a third time, "You can't con me," which actually then made me really angry. But I thought, well, God must know more than I do, so I'm not going to bother to argue with him anymore. He's told me 3 times that I can't con him, so apparently I'm trying to con him, but I don't think I'm trying to con him. Anyways, while this is all running through my head, I hear a knock at the door, and I get up, I wipe my mouth, and I go to the door. It's my cocaine dealer, and he's there with a brick, a huge brick of cocaine. I've never seen such a huge brick of cocaine in my life. And there he is at my door with a brick of cocaine, and he says to me, "I just got this from Peru. It's Peruvian snowflake, and you're my best customer, and I wanted to come over here and let you try it first and tell me if it's any good," and blah, blah, blah. And so I let him in, and he breaks a big chunk of the brick off and hands it to me, and I rock it up. I make some crack rocks out of it, and I put it in my pipe, and I'm taking a big old hit of this rock cocaine, crack, and I'm taking a big old hit of it, and I hear the voice say to me, "Thought you wanted to quit." Well, now, what a big liar I am. 2 minutes ago, I was in the bathroom, dry heaving at the toilet, begging to be let off of cocaine. And now I'm sitting here in the kitchen, taking a huge hit off of a pipe. I had to look at what a liar I was. I was not lying to God, because he told me I couldn't con him. I was lying to myself. I was lying to myself, and I lied to myself so well, I believed my own lies. Well, actually really did want to be let off cocaine, but I had to look at what a big liar I was first, because if you really want off something, 2 minutes later, don't go and do it. So I asked God, what do I need to do to get off of it? And the voice said to me, 3 days of prayer and fasting. So I actually finished the drugs that I had, and then I went off to fast. And for 3 days, I didn't eat or drink or do any drugs. I just drank water. And after 3 days, the urge to do cocaine again came to me, and I wanted to do coke. Wanted to smoke some more crack, and I started praying. Lord, you said 3 days. It's been 3 days, and now the urges are back just like always, and I'm having a hard time. And kept praying, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. I didn't have any feeling that God was even around. And so I kept praying, and 12 more hours went by, so now it's been 3.5 days. And this 12 hours has actually been torture because I am having cravings so bad. And after 12 more hours, I just said, well, you know what? He said 3 days. It's been 3.5 days. I'm done. I'm just going to call my dealer and get some cocaine. So I call my dealer and get some more coke, and he brings it over. I rock it up, and he leaves, and I rock it up, and I take a big old hit, and I don't get high at all. I don't get no rush. I don't get high. So I'm actually kind of mad. I call him up. I'm like, dude, what's this crap you gave me? And he's like, you saw the brick I had 3 days ago. He's like, it's the same stuff. You said it was really good. I'm like, dude, I didn't. Yeah. He's like, maybe you didn't do big enough hit. Do another hit. So I hang up from him, and I do another huge hit, and still I don't get high. Don't feel no rush. Don't feel nothing. I'm like, okay, this is really weird. And while I'm standing here, getting ready to call him back again, I noticed that there's someone standing in my dining room, and he looks like Jesus. And I can tell he's an entity that if anybody else in the room, they probably wouldn't be able to see him. But I can see him. He's standing there wearing purple robes and a white tunic underneath the purple robes. And he's got shoulder-length brown hair, and his face is fuzzed out. And he's beckoning me to the window. He's standing over by the window in my dining room, and he's pointing out the window, wanting to show me something. So I actually walk over there to the window, and I look out the window. And he's showing me that there's a little boy and a little girl out there, and they also have their faces fuzzed out. And I can tell just right off the bat, I know they're demons. They're demons that were in me and are now not in me. And and I noticed that I was living in a mobile home park at the time, and there was a block wall around the exterior of the mobile home park, and there was a little walk-through gate through the block wall into the next neighborhood. And the gateway was chain link fence. It was a chain link fence gate through a block wall. Anyways, the little boy was standing on the outside of the wall, and the little girl was on the inside of the wall. And the little boy was like trying to push his way through the gate, but there were two beams of light that went across the gate, and they were preventing him from coming in the gate. And the entity told me, who I thought was Jesus, told me, today I'm kicking them out of you. Actually, I'm kicking the little boy out of you. He's over heroin, meth, and cocaine. I'm leaving her in you. She's over marijuana, alcohol, and tobacco. And he said, if you can't get rid of her, I have no use for you. So I thought, wow, that's an odd statement, because I never thought Jesus would say that. So I thought, okay, well, he's just trying to see if I'm a good enough fighter to get her out of me. So, and he left, and from that day forward, I never did cocaine again. I was delivered of cocaine, but I still smoked marijuana for a very long time after that. Recently, in the more recent past, I've quit marijuana, and never understood why the faces were fuzzed out. Asked Jesus at the time why his face was fuzzed out and didn't get an answer. Thought it was very odd that their faces were fuzzed out. Well, now, recently, I watched some YouTube videos by a man named Rob Skiba, and he was talking about the Nephilim, and he was referencing a book called the Book of Enoch, which is not in our Bible, but I think probably actually should be. And in this Book of Enoch, it references that the demons that wander on this earth are actually the dead offspring of the fallen angels that when they mated with women, human women. And it says that God lets them roam here naked, and they have a veil over their face, so they can't see us clearly. Well, when I read that, I realized who those little entities were. It wasn't Jesus there. It was a demon, playing like he was Jesus, convincing me that, yeah, they let me off cocaine, but I was still doing marijuana for the very longest time, and continuing to lead a sinful life. And yeah, they just were very tricky with that. They let me believe that this demon, who was pretending to be Jesus, and he did a good job, because for years my testimony was that Jesus delivered me from cocaine, but he left the other demon in me. And if you think about it, is Jesus going to leave another demon in you? I don't think so. It says that when he cast demons out, he cast them all out. When he healed someone, he healed them totally. It wasn't a partial job. So I just wanted to add this on to that previous video. I'm going to call this part 2. And just let you know that Jesus' crown was very thick, and that it was so thick it'd break your neck if you tried to put it on. Even if you tried to like sneak it on to try it to see if it fits your head, it'd break your loving neck. And that Satan's threat to me of marijuana and cocaine was actually fairly real in my life later on, and I had to work through that. But you know what? All in all, Jesus is the most important thing in my life. He is the one who saved me, delivered me from all of that stuff. And I'm the one who needed to come to him to repent. He saved me at a point in my life, earlier in my life, and I'm the one who did all the backsliding. I'm the one who walked away. And all he's ever done is just patiently wait for me to come back. I have some more stuff that he's shown me and that he's given me, more about the 2 little demons that were out there, the boy and the girl. I'll give you some more of those later, and thanks for listening.